How are you? Great to see you here today. Thanks so much. Simon Tully, that's my brother from another mother back in England. Great to see you, Simon. It is all about you. And I'm going to make it all about you. So today you can start supporting Chelsea. Go to the top. It's like, I want to help you get there, mate. It's great to see you. Good morning, Autumn. Good morning, Craig. Simon, send my love to your family back in England. It's great to see you, mate. Always the fondest of memories. I haven't seen you in, gosh, so long, but thanks for being here. So yes, Pat, good morning. Autumn, good morning. Craig, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I love that. So I started drinking Body Armor water. I'm not saying that for any other reason, except I like it a lot. And so I've started taking this one. I like the pH balance in there. It's a 9+. That's just for me personally. But I used to drink Smart Water. I don't know if you guys have ever tried Smart Water and how it was. And I really liked it until I began to think, if that water is so smart, how did it get stuck in a bottle? So it can't be that smart of water because there's a lot of water out there running around. So everywhere. So I've gone from Smart Water and I'm going to Body Armor water. So that's awesome. Gosh, everyone's jumping in today. It's great to see you all here. Jen, great to see you here. Thanks for being here. Mary, welcome back to class. Great to see you. Linda, no dance classes. You're finally back. That's awesome. But I'm sure your students are disappointed because I know how passionate it is. Dancers need to dance. And I used to love doing that. In fact, Simon Tully will remember me dancing through the streets of Epsom when I was back being a dancer with my leg warmers on. I'm not going to talk too much about that because some people don't understand, but a dancer truly understands. Rosa, good morning. Great to see you here. Bob, great to see you here as well. Jen's ready to work out with us. So that's great. Good morning, Bob and Rosa. And Bob says, hey, y'all. Did I sound American when I said that? Hey, y'all, which is great. And thanks, Simon. You stay safe as well, always. And miss dancing through Epsom High Street. I'm taking a little bit of water. I had a workout this morning. It was 44 degrees when I started, actually 43 degrees when I started. But what's 1 degree between, friends? Okay, so your board is ready. Mary, it says, good morning. Your board is ready for UPS to pick it up. Should have it by next week. That's great. I'm so happy. And let me know if anything changes. We have had issues with UPS, which is completely understandable. They are overloaded with so much work and deliveries and stuff, but consistently they have been good. So I doubt anything will go wrong. But if there is anything, reach out to us. We are here to help. Amy, good morning. Ildi, good morning. Deborah, good morning. Good morning to you all. Thanks so much for being here. Bob, do I ever sleep? Only when I go to the movie theater. When I was living in Germany, I was doing a show in Germany. I went and saw 20 movies during the year and I slept through 18 of them. And even now I had a membership until the movies for AMC because I would go there just to sleep. It's great, even if it's a great movie. Lights off, dark, great sound, phones off, and I get to sleep. So that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the class today because today's class is different. It's the only one of the month, the first Tuesday of every month. I had posted yesterday in the Facebook page that it's a different class today. Today is your class. It's about you asking me questions. I do have a couple of things that I want to go over and we'll do some exercises, but it's not a hard workout today. Today is a learning workout. What questions do you have? What things do you have issues with? What do you want help? I'm your personal trainer today. No different than when Bob will come in and you'll remember, Bob, you say, oh, this is hurting me, or I'm having a problem with this, or I can't do this. And we would create exercises that had dynamic results. So whatever you want to know today, feel free to put the questions here and I will answer. Put me on the spot. Make me have to create something specifically for you because I guarantee if you're having issues with it or you're feeling it, I guarantee there's other people that have the same thing and you will help them by asking your questions. So I'm going to put my water down. I'm going to have a little talk of the day. First off, this Thursday, we've had some requests coming up for people to have a more strength training, a higher level training. So this Thursday, we're going to do a power strength training on the board, one that we may have done before, but I'm going to make it more structured, more like not a serious workout because that might put people off, but one where we're going to have reps, we're going to have strength training, we're going to have specifics for left, right, front and back, upper body work with bands. So for those of you that want to get a harder, tougher strengthening workout in, where balance is secondary and strength is primary, and believe me, you'll be working on your balance the whole time, we're going to be doing that this Thursday. So feel free to come and join in, and I'm looking forward to that class. My nose just fell off of the light, so I'm going to look down and find out. Okay, so my message for today is the most important thing we have in life. If you think about it, what's the most important thing you have in life? I know for a fact, for Bob, I know it's Deborah and Noah. You've always said that your family is the most important thing to you. But I want to talk about this a little bit. The most important thing all of us have in life is time. There's no question. What you do with your time determines what's most important to you, right? The most valuable thing you have in life is your time, because when time is gone, everything's gone. And so what I want you to look at today and start thinking about is, what are you doing with your time? What's the most important thing for you to give to yourself to increase your time so you can spend it doing the things you love the most? And what you're doing here today is really important, that you're giving time to yourself to improve your health, both mental and physical, because we've got such a great group. It's so fun to be here. But at the same time, don't waste a second. We have so many examples or instances where people will sit and complain about something not being good and yet wait for somebody else to fix it for them. When you've got so much power yourself, if you apply the talents that you have and the smarts, the brain power you have, you can maximize each second. That also includes resting, right? Giving to yourself also includes rest. It's not all about go, go, go. When you've had a good workout, when you've had a long day, when you've been out helping others, when you've been at home and you felt that little bit of stress coming in or fear, given the time to sit back and reflect on the greatness that you've got is also given to yourself. So my message today, take a look at the time and what you're doing with it. Put everything into it to give yourself the best time, and then what you do with that time shows what's most important to yourself. One thing that my mother always talks about is when a plane is losing altitude and the yellow masks come out, the first thing you have to do is put it on yourself. So when you've got that oxygen coming into you, you can help more people. If you pass out trying to help other people, you become irrelevant to saving or the safety or help of others. And it's the same in everyday life. Give yourself that time for you so you strengthen, and then you become more able to help others and do what you'd like to do. So there's some great questions that are coming in. And again, we're going to get through. So I'm going to go back after what I just said. Okay, so Pat, you're the first question you've had. Sometimes I feel like there are rocks between the pads of my feet and my toes. Is there an exercise for this? So we're going to go back and do that one. There's a couple of things. Rosa, you say you want to be in your video. Do you want to come online? Give me a thumbs up or say yes if you want to come online, because I'm happy to do that as well. Just going, Betsy, Debbie does a good muscle workout. That's great. Absolutely. Debbie's really good at the stuff she does as well. So thanks for sharing that. Bob, good morning, Bob. Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Carol. Rosa's back on. Amy, there's a question. So I'm going to come back to this. Joe, welcome to see this. So let's go back. A couple of things I want to go over first, and we're going to go through some exercises on this. I just got to pick my notes up, because you'll see. I'm not going to show you because the tape I'm using is actually horrible tape, which is why it fell. But okay. So one of the questions that we have, and we're going to address this first and then come back to your questions. Some people say, and I understand 100%, that it's hard to see the numbers on the board. There's numbers 1, 2, and 3. Now, the reason that I keep them and I designed them to be dark is because some people like to put the board away, or they like to push it in a corner. And when we tried it with white numbers on there, it really stood out and was harder to go. So I decided not to put the numbers on. However, and I'm going to do a video just on how to color your numbers, I want you to understand the power of your brain. So when you look down, look at the board, and you'll see the numbers 1 and 1 inside the inside holes. Then the numbers 2 and 2 go between the inside holes and the outside holes, or if the poles are in the outside, your feet are just inside those poles. And then 3 and 3, take a look. 3 and 3 is outside the poles. Now, these are critical to have because foot position will work different parts of the brain-body connection and the strengthening as well. So this is what I want you to do. Look down at number 1 for your right foot and just tap the board and hold it there from number 1. So just hold it. You're not putting your weight on it. My foot is just tapping that board. Feel it. Now, feel how the pressure is in your left foot. Again, this is a once a month class where we go through things slow and explain. Now, what I want you to do is look up now. Take your right foot down and put it back exactly the same place. And take it down without looking and put it exactly the same place. And take it down and put it exactly the same place. Now look down. Is your foot behind the number 1? What we're training here is muscle memory of movement to be able to find that placement. Now bring it back down to the ground. Now lift it up and put it behind the number 1 without looking. Now look down. Is your foot in the number 1? What we're learning here, bring it down. And one last time, put it behind number 1. Now look down. What we've got is repetitive movement to make sure that we're feeling the place we're putting the foot subconsciously without looking to guide. So to begin with, you can look. Let's go left foot. Look down, put it behind number 1. Now look up and stay there. Now look down and look up and make sure it's there. Now, if you think we're not training, think about the balance and strength you're putting on your right leg now as you hold the left foot without the board touching. Good. Now we're going to look down, look up. Now bring your foot back. Now put it behind the number 1. Check it's behind the number 1. How's your balance? Bring it back down. Now take it behind the number 1. Bring it back down without looking. Put it behind the number 1 without looking. Bring it back down. Now put it behind the number 1. Hold it there and check. Is your foot behind the number 1? Now we know that the movement is really good. Good. Put it on the ground. And don't look at the number 1. Bring that foot up and place it right behind that number 1 again. Now check. Good. Bring it back down. Great work. Very simple, but do this with me. Now, right foot. Look at the number 2. Put it behind the number 2. Look up. Look back down. Good. Look up. Now lift the foot, put it on the board. Lift the foot, put it on the board. Feel one more time. Now check. Is it still behind the number 2? Yes, it is. Good. Bring it to the ground. Now, without looking, put it behind the number 2. Now, take a look. Bring it back up again. Take it back to the ground. Now, 3 times. 2, down, 2, down, 2. Now hold it there. Check. Is your foot behind the number 2? If it is, great muscle memory and movement memory to train the body to be able to go or put the foot where you want it to go instead of the foot controlling the body. Now let's try it on the left side. Look at the number 2. Place your foot behind. See it there. Now look up and hold that foot there. Look down. Look up. Hold that foot there. Look down. Look up, hold that foot there. Now, lift the number 2, tap the board. Lift the number 2, tap the board. Lift the number 2, tap the board. Now, check, is your foot still there? Good, bring your foot to the ground. Now, take your foot to the side. Hold it there. Take a look. It's still there. Bring it back. Now, put it back on to the ground, to the board behind number 2 to the ground. And last one, put it behind the number 2. Now check. Is your foot behind the number 2? I can feel my balance a little bit rocky. and bring it back down again. Okay, great job. Shake those legs out. So this is what I want you to understand, why the numbers are there to begin with to help you understand, but eventually you don't need to. Now, what I want you to do is take your right foot, put it behind the number 3 and step on the board. Now come back. Now take your left foot, put it on the number 3, step on the board, and now come back. Now let's just repeat that a couple of times. 3 on the right, now 3 on the left, and 3 on the right, and 3 on the left. Now, without looking down, step up on 1 and 1. So my right foot goes to 1, my left foot goes to 1, and just rock side to side. So that's again, now check, are your feet behind 1 and 1? If they are, great. If not, no worries, because you can adjust them. But we want to, again, train the feet to go in relative position of our body. So if I want to step to the side, my foot naturally goes. If I want to step wider, and all I have to do instead of looking at numbers is look and see, is my foot going where I want it to go for the position on the board without thinking about it. Without looking. And again, if I want to go number 3, I can just put my foot there because I'm used to training my feet to move relative to my body or my information I want to go. So I'm going to stay quiet for about 15 seconds. It's almost impossible. But 15 seconds, and I want you to just try placing your feet in different positions where you want it to go. So say to yourself, I want to go to 3 on my left. I want to go to 3 on my right. I want to go to 2 on my left. I want to go to 1 on my right. And just check and see where your feet are. Okay, you ready? 15 seconds. Off you go. This is all about foot placement. Go. And we're back. So I hope you were able to, again, trust your foot movement. I just did one at the end where I literally was just taking 1 foot to 2 and then back to 1 and to 2 and to 1. And repetition of doing this work will help muscle memory and movement memory to be in a position to react. So if I step too wide and I want to come back and bring my feet together, I've trained my body again to have the muscle strength, but more importantly, the brain ability to tell my body what to do. Okay, next one that we want to work on. Second one, I have a lot of knees. People talk about knees. And so I just want to refresh a little bit. Make sure when you're working on your knees, see, I'm going to stand sideways. Just stand with me. And you're going to do this. You're going to do it wrong with me, which is not good, right? But I want you to feel it. What I want you to do is bend your knees and go forward. And if you notice, my knees are going forward of my toes, and feel how you begin to feel pressure on your knees as you bend down. Now what I want you to do is I want you to put your feet very slightly apart, put your butt back and bend down, and just do this motion. And you'll notice how there's a different pressure on your knees. So when you're doing these exercises, don't, when you bend your knees, let the knees go forward. When we do squats, the first thing you do is push the butt slightly back. You'll feel your pressure, bend the knees a little bit, you'll feel the pressure more on the midfoot. Go back to the video. If I do this, feel how you feel all the weight on your toes. As your knees go forward, feel how your toes are taking the pressure into your knees. Now, butt goes back, and then bend the knees, and you'll notice how the weight stays in the middle of your feet, or even a little bit towards your heel, but your butt goes back, and your chest stays up. This will eliminate most knee pain. So step up on 2 and 2. Just rock side to side. Now push down with your right leg. You're going to stay on the right. Now push your butt back and bend just a little bit, and you'll feel how your right leg. Now come back up. Push to the left. Butt goes back. Bend the knees. Make sure the butt, push to the right. Butt goes back first. Then there's a knee bend up. And now get it where as you bend, the butt naturally goes backwards. As I'm bending that knee, the butt naturally goes backwards. So critical. Now come and find the balance in the middle and do the same thing again. We're going to go into a little squat. I'm going to find my balance. Butt goes back and then bend the knees, and notice how different the feeling is on the knees. Critical for everybody. If you're getting any sort of knee pain, make sure that you're working on your strength, foot pressure into the ground, butt going back, and you're bending, not with the knees going forward, but with the butt going back. No different than if you were sitting onto a chair and standing up. We want to build the strength here in the quads, the glutes, have good pressure on your feet, and make sure the knees are good. Okay, next thing I wanted to work on. This is really, really good. We did this the other day. We're going to put your foot in the middle of the board and just step up and let it rock side to side. Very simple exercise for the ability to control your foot pressure left and right or inside, outside. Bob, this is also good for, and we'll work on an exercise for not leaning forward when you walk. But we'll do that in a minute. But again, feeling pressure point. Now, hold the middle. Now, what I want you to do is push on your toe as if you're about to go up on your toe, but you don't. And then bend the knee slightly and feel the pressure on the knee. Up on the toe, back on the heel. Up on the toe, pushing back. Let's say knee, I meant heel. So all I'm doing is letting my weight a little bit. And if you begin to feel off balance, you can just step back. It's very simple, so we work. Toe pressure, heel pressure. And for heel pressure, just push your butt back a little bit. Look, if I turn my board this way, I'm here going up on my toe, so I feel my front pressure, and then my heel, I just go to this point here, and you'll feel the difference in the strengthening. Let's go to the left foot. Work along again. This is all education. So come up here, rock the board inside out. My back foot is just hanging off the back in case I want to step back and feel safe. There you go. Hopefully you always feel safe because you're in a support. Good. Now find the balance in the middle. Now go up on your toe and then sit back down a little bit on the heel. Up and then heel. And up and heel. And up and heel. And up, and you're barely going up on your toe. You're just really putting the pressure on the toe, so we're strengthening the feet. So that's a little exercise I want you to do. You could do that a minute a day walking past the board just to strengthen the inside and outside of the feet and the front and the back of the ankles. Now, the last thing we're going to do, which is something that I really wanted to help with, people have been saying they're having a problem bending down, changing the pole. And then we're going to get the class started. So what I came up with was a way to be able to change the pole. You've still got to get your clip key. But then, all you're going to do is pull the board to the side. The red ball might fall out. But once you're here, come and stand in this position with your thigh, and now push the pin in, take your pole out, and again, push the pin in. So we never have to actually bend over. Now, when I go to the other side, same thing. I rock the board, I hold it in this position, I now put it on my thigh here. I take the clip, take it out, put it back into here, lock it into place, and if I want to store the clip, I don't even have to bend all the way to the ground. I can put it back in and put the ball down. So that, for me, is a very simple way to not have to bend all the way down and try and get that. So now I'm going to put them back really quickly. So I come back up to here. You got the handle on the side of the board. Stand here with your thighs because that will help support the board. Now I can just push here, take the pole out, put it back in. That's one side done. And then on the other side, lift it up, hold the handle, put it against my thighs. I can move that in, put it back in, and we're back in the outside. So that's it from me today as far as the 5 things that I wanted to talk about. Let's get back to you now. I hope that helped a little bit. Okay, so Pat, let's go back. First question, and please keep adding questions in here. Sometimes you feel that there are rocks between the pads of your feet and your toes. Is there an exercise for this? Okay, so what we're talking about here is a certain amount of neuropathy and where there's probably a buildup of scar tissue or lack of feeling that's going between the pads of the feet and the toes. And it's the pad of the foot that feels like a rock. I have something new that I've created that I'm waiting to test out, which I'm so excited to present, which will help with that in my experience and training. But until that point, what I would do is turn the board around. I would take your shoe off, and I'm going to do that today, just very simply. And if you'd like to join in with me, please feel free to join in. The area of the foot that you're talking about is right here at the bottom. So I would put that part of the foot on the ball, and you can do this sitting down. And what I would do is I would push my toes down onto the board and pull them back up or onto the ball. Let me turn sideways so you can see here. So I'd be here, and I'd push my toes down and pull them back up, and push my toes down and pull them back up. Now put pressure in and just roll that foot side to side. You see, I'm not doing a circle, I'm just rolling side to side, and I'm putting the pressure on the ball exactly where I feel there's rocks. Now I'm gonna rock forward and backwards with my foot, because what we're doing is we wanna loosen up that area and get the blood flow going to that area. And the way that you're going to get the blood flow, let's just go side to side again, is to have activity in that area of your body. So again, just side to side, along the line where you feel there's rocks, and then forward and back, just putting pressure so it begins to go into that area. We begin to loosen up, get some movement. Now, there is no guarantee of time, of how long it would take, but slowly over time you should be able to begin to feel a slight loosening up. I have an incredible doctor, Dr. Raymond Hall, who was an expert. He helped me with my feet because I was having major problems with them and couldn't go up on my toes or my left foot and had the hardest time. Now let me give you one more exercise that I think will help. Let's use the right foot. Put your foot on the edge of the board, right? So it's almost like we're doing that calf stretch, but instead of letting the heel touch the ground, I want you to just slowly step right on that edge and just feel a little pressure. A little pressure. It's like having a scar tissue in there. We've got to slowly loosen it up. So just putting that on there. Now when you're there, just move your knee side to side, and you'll feel with your shoe on, there's still a pressure that's going into that part of the foot. And bring it back down. Let's try the other side. Put the, again, ball of the foot on the edge. Don't let the heel touch the ground. Just push into it until you feel a little pressure. Now just move that foot side to side. There you go. Just rocking it, and again, feeling that pressure. Again, we want to again start to massage, loosen up any scar tissue or the lack of blood flow that's getting there, so it's almost like a blocker. Now the last exercise, I'm going to step your right foot on number one, take your left foot to in the middle, so the weight's on it, and just rock slightly up onto your toe, so that again we're getting that mobility from the main part of the foot into the toe. Just a small little movement here, and then we're going to go to the other side. Left foot goes on here, right foot in the middle, and just again getting that flexion, getting that movement of the separation of the main part of the foot to the toes, and working through here. And that's going to be my exercises for you today, Pat. I hope that helps a lot, but give me feedback, let me know what you're saying or what you're feeling. Again, Debbie does a good muscle workout. Absolutely, I've got some great exercises that I've learned from her as well. Okay, so Bob Eubanks, you're the next one. Refresh your memory. What exercises can you do to keep you from leaning forward when you walk? Okay, let's address this one. Let's start facing the front. Step up with your feet on one and one. Now what I want you to do is lift your right foot, push your heel first and then your toe. So we're going to go heel, toe, heel, toe. Now this is not how we're going to walk. We're actually taking to an extreme the ability to have your heel touch the ground first, which is the other extreme. If you're leaning forward, it's always your toe that's hitting the ground. So we're going to start off heel first, heel first. So feel that heel coming down. Now, as you're doing that, notice putting your heel first is really hard to bring that, have that body forward. So stand up, pull those shoulders back, keep your head up high and start going heel and then toe. So heel, toe. Now, we've got that one going. Now what I want you to do is start thinking of stepping right in the middle of your foot. So my heel and toe are touching the ground exactly at the same time. Now you could say, well again, when I walk, it's normally, I'm not walking with exactly the middle of my foot. But again, we're learning the ability to control our foot pressure and foot angle, because when we can control that, we can control everything else. But probably the number one reason, Bob, you feel like you're falling forward, and as much as we're training the feet, is probably a little bent over at the waist, a little bit with the head leaning forward, and probably the shoulders a little rounded. So I want everyone to do this. Just come and stand in the middle, bend slightly at the waist, squeeze those abs. Now stick your chin forward and look down slightly, and then round your shoulders so you'll be like this. And if you're doing that, feel how when you walk, just walk with me in this position. Notice how it's your toes that hit the ground every time. Now from this position, to stay in this position, what I want you to do, pull your chin back, pull your shoulders back, allow the torso to lengthen, and notice how you begin to have more pressure on your heels than your toes. So a lot of the feeling of falling forward comes from our body position and our stature. Now what I want you to do is turn sideways. So we're in here. What I want you to do, you'll notice how the board is leaning backwards. I want you to step up and feel the ball of the foot touching the ground first. Feel how the ball of the foot touches the ground first. Well, of course it should do, because the heel in here is obviously going to hit the ground second. So we're getting used to the toe touching the ground first, but we're walking, and notice you won't want to be in this position because you're going to feel safer actually being in this position, upright again. Lengthen the torso, chin back, eyes up, and shoulders back, and not round. Now, as we're doing this, I now want you to slowly step forward. So go on the other side, you'll feel like we're walking downhill. Now, same thing again. We're walking, and what I want you to do is feel how it's still the ball of your foot that's touching the ground first, the same as we walk. Keep doing that, and I'm going to show you. When we walk, the heel touches the ground first, when we're walking normally. When we're hunched over, it tends to be the force goes onto the front of the foot. So we're here, let the ball of the foot still touch the ground first. Now what I want you to do, and be careful, do this, so hunch over, put your head forward, and notice, and I'm extreme here, round that stomach. Now notice when you're in this position, how straight away you're on your toes and your pressure point, and if you lean forward, you feel like you want to walk forward. Also notice how your cadence goes faster because you're not quite in control. Now, pull those shoulders back, stand up, and notice how you go at a slower pace and more confident and comfortable because you're elongated. Now what I want you to do is come back, step back off of the board, and I want you to just stand in place and walk. So we're in here. Notice how the ball of the foot is still touching the ground because we're not going forward yet, but you're very quickly on your heel. Now, round your shoulders, lean forward, and notice how you feel with exactly the same foot placement, how you begin to feel like you're falling forward. Stick that chin out, look down. Now, reverse it. Come upright, and notice how your cadence slows down because you're not rushing to keep your balance. Now, stand here on the side of the board and just walk forward and turn. Walk forward and turn. Walk forward and turn. Walk forward and turn. Now, face, hunch forward, walk forward and turn. And don't come up when you turn, and notice how your feet have to react differently because you're not in a centered position. So a couple more times. It's great practicing what you shouldn't do. I did that all the time as a kid. I practiced not keeping my room tidy. I practiced not finishing I always finish my dinner. I practiced not cleaning my shoes. And this like, just so that I could know what it's like. I did it on purpose, Mum, honestly. Okay, so now let's do the same thing. Just walk, think about your posture, think about your strength, There you go. Now let's come back up on the board. Rock side to side, and all we're going to do to finish up on this one is pull those shoulders back and relax. Shoulders back, relax. Now as you pull your shoulders back, lift through your head. So your head goes up, which will help bring your chin into alignment. Head comes up, head comes up. Think of getting taller. I'm standing taller. Good. And now bring your feet to one and one while we're here and just walking. Excellent. And there you have the ability to begin to change that feeling of falling forward. We want to have the feet strong. We want to have the feeling of what part of the foot is touching the ground in controlled balance. But let's work on the upper body positioning, because that will allow you to be centered over your middle. All right, I hope that one helped. Good one. I'm just going through these again. Yeah, Bob, you read this morning, we have to grow where we're planted. I'm going to go grow in England then, because I was planted in England. No, but it's true. You've got to know where your strength is, where your foundation is, and strengthen that up. And if your foundation isn't strong, then you've got to make sure that you plant yourself in a foundation. In other words, if you're in a constant position of leaning forward, you don't want that to become stronger. You want to make sure we replant the center and have the roots strong, so then we're growing stronger. Okay, this is great, Amy. You got a question with an exercise. You have an autoimmune condition which makes you susceptible to weak and even brittle connective tissue. You tore a bicep tendon about 6 years ago, just reaching into the kitchen cabinet. It could not be repaired. I am down to one bicep tendon in that arm. So, besides taking certain supplements, do you have any suggestions for strengthening connective tissue? Okay, so great question. And again, I would always say, listen to your doctor, listen to your physical therapist, because they can see your actual condition. They will have seen MRIs, they will have seen x-rays as to the bone structure in there. And I don't want to overstep any doctor or physical therapist telling them what to do. Now, when you look at strengthening connective tissue, I believe you're talking about the attachment of the muscle to the bone, which obviously is, it sounds like when you tore your bicep reaching up, it snapped. And sometimes I've seen the extreme where the bicep actually goes all the way up to the shoulder and they have to go in, operate, and reattach the muscle back to the bone again. So the exercises that I would do in your condition is more about, what's the right word? Again, we're talking about, if we talk about the bicep, it's a little bit different than the balance board, but we're talking about dynamic tension of strengthening the muscle. We don't want to go extreme in there, because extreme creates the stretch and more stress on the joint positions. So if we're looking at any movements where we want to, again, if you've got a whole body physical risk, if I say risk, I don't mean that in a negative way, I'm saying we've got to be smart. I would do much more dynamic tension work. In other words, small movement and yet squeezing the muscle. So for the bicep, I wouldn't go all the way to a full extension. I would start slightly higher up into here, and then just small little squeezes, small little energy squeezes in here, which is for strengthening the muscle. Again, the connective part, I would put back to a doctor or to a surgeon, but just small little motions, and then the hold. So in here, for example, if I wanted to do work on the bicep, I would do small little pumps just in here, making sure that the muscle in here, the muscle is tight, and all I'm doing is a small little reverberation of the tight muscle. I'm not stressing the area of the joint, I'm working on the contraction. So for your legs, for example, I would be in here, small little knee bends, and then straighten and squeeze, and small little knee bends, and straighten and squeeze. And the squeeze gives you more dynamic strengthening than you would normally have if you just do this with me and feel it. More dynamic strength than you would if you just did the normal exercise. So the extra squeeze of the muscle is challenging the muscle to get stronger, to get tighter. And what I like about small movement and tightening in here, and we can do it, even go to a small bend, and now in the small bend, push your knees together and take them out and stand up. Bend your knees, push your knees together and feel the muscle tightening, and then stand back up again. So in here again, if we wanted to use the hamstring, just lift the leg and just small little squeezes in here, but try and squeeze the muscle and then move it. So I'm squeezing my hamstring, now small little movements, and that I am very confident would help restrict the possibility of tearing the connectivity of the muscle and at the same time strengthen it. So think about all the movements that we do, even pushing to the side and coming back up. Don't go quite so deep, but as you push up, squeeze, bend, squeeze, bend, squeeze. So we're not rocking the board and taking away. We squeeze the muscle and strengthen it, squeeze. I hope that helps with an explanation. You start to feel it, because feeling the muscle tightening and getting stronger will help a lot. I hope that helped in there, Amy. And feel free to reach out if there's more specifics you want me to go over. Always happy to hear. Joe, great to see you here, Joe. I appreciate you joining in. Today's a very different type of class. It's not so much heavy workout as it is understanding. Everybody that's here, you may not have these issues, but listen to the information, because you're smart enough to say, hey, that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, it's probably not true, because the body is, as much as it's complex, it's very simple, and we complicate things. And so, again, I want you to get information to be able to advance any issues you got. I've got a little bit of knee pain coming on from playing soccer a while ago. And so I'm constantly adjusting and relearning. And I do have knee pain in my right knee. I've had it for 2 years now. And so I'm constantly adjusting and changing things, and it's amazing how things help. And then I'll do something and that knee pain will come back again, and then I adjust. So I'm constantly thinking, and probably none of you noticed that I've had knee pain for a while, but I'm able to overcome it. And then if I go out and play soccer again, or do something, kick a ball, or jump off of a building and land, sometimes that knee impact comes back again. So I'm constantly learning as well. Carol, you use puffy paint in light dots on your numbers. It works great. That's awesome. Maybe you can send us a picture. I'm actually going to do a video, about a 5-minute video of different things. You can use nail polish. You can use paint. Whiteout is great to use. You can get dots. I was talking to my father the other night, who just got his 60-up balance board back in England. And he's just put little dots on there to help, because he's in a darker room. And so it's great. Any creativity, and I love creativity. If people that know me know I love creativity. Find the solution. Don't look at the problem, and focus on the problem. Vicky, good morning. Great to see you here. Bonnie, and I know, Vicky, you'll probably be watching this later on. Bonnie, great to see you here as well. Ellen, great to see you here. Thanks so much. Remy, yeah, thanks for mentioning explain the butt goes back first. Remy, I hope that really helped you. Because I know we've had some people. We had a gentleman that posted on Facebook the other day who said the board was fantastic. It really helped him, but now he's starting to get knee pain coming in. And so, does somebody want to buy the board? He's willing to sell his board now that his balance is better, but the knees are beginning to hurt. I feel the problem probably is that he's doing the wrong technique. And be careful, because just because your balance came back, if you don't use this, and Bob Eubanks, you can step in here, Bob, because if you don't keep doing it, you will lose your balance. This isn't a permanent fix. This is a way to fix issues and then be able to come back and just use it as maintenance. Using it after you get your balance back, using it 2 to 3 times a week for 10 minutes will be enough to maintain. But if you stop doing it, you'll drop off. Remy, you can't even get up on your toes. Let me address that one really quickly. All right. So if you can't get up on your toes, what I want you to do is let's start with the left foot. Do this with me. All I want you to do is push on your left foot and lift the heel. See if you can lift the heel. Just push. Now, one way to lift the heel is to push the knee further forward. Now, we're not doing squats, so don't worry about the knee going ahead. You're not putting your weight on the knee. We're going and just push the knee forward. And what you'll notice in here is, I don't know if you can see, I can see through my front door, there's a whole bunch of work going on outside today in someone's house. So if you hear all the beeping and the trucks, I apologize. So here we are, just rolling forward. Let's go to the right foot. What we're doing here is we're beginning to instigate, we're beginning to start the motion of the flexion going onto the toes. You don't even have to do weight bearing. What we're doing is we're starting slow, and then as you begin to go, you can step up and see if you can just roll a little bit onto your toes. What you're doing is you're gaining strength. As I said earlier, Dr. Raymond Hall, I could not, for 8 months I was in a boot, and they wanted to operate. They had all these different things, and I didn't want to operate because the chance with all the nerves that are in the foot Let's change feet, bring the left back again. The chance of all the nerves in the feet was a major chance of failure. They can cut your nerves and you may never feel down there, you know, in the way that you did before. But I went and saw Dr. Raymond Hall. He got me out of the boot after 8 months, but I could not go up on my toe. There's nowhere I got. And I had to learn again to be able to go up, hold, balance, and then be able to pirouette again. So it was a really slow motion of doing that. But that's what we're doing here, is just that very slow motion of beginning the process of putting the pressure on the toe, and slowly over time, those tendons start to fire, you grow the strength in them to be able to push up. So very simple start, but if you do this motion and just try to rock onto your toe and the heel comes up just a little bit, you'll begin to progress off of that. I hope that helps, Remy. Deborah, you are brilliant. Thanks so much. Janice, great to see you here. Carol, great idea. Yes, thanks so much. You said in here, Mary, tilting the board to change the pole looks easier. You have problems getting up off the floor and bending over. That should work great. Great. I'm glad I could help. And I'm going to start creating videos to help. So if there's any problems, I can have specific videos. But again, I wanted to give that one and help. Beth, you'll do the YouTube later. Again, this isn't a real solid workout. Kathy's back tomorrow with the continuous, and I'm here on Thursday with a more of a strength, like heavy duty workout this Thursday. But again, there's a lot of information here today, and follow along if you can. Bob, thanks for being here. This is Bob R. I'm not going to say your last name, but why not, Mr. Reed? Good to see you, Bob. Great to see you here. We've got quite a lot of Bobs around, and so I want to make sure you know who it is. Fran, I'm guessing with your last name, you're from Europe, maybe even Holland or Belgium. I'm guessing that, but great to have you here. Thanks so much for showing up. Remy, how do you actually walk in place which isn't you marching? Well, again, when we were marching in place, part of the thing is we are marching in place. It's not actually walking, because you'll notice when we march in place, it goes toe heel. Toe heel, you'll end up with your toe touching the ground. But when you walk, your toe doesn't touch the ground first, because obviously that would be weird. You can see if I'm like this, the toe touching first, it's a little weird. The heel does touch the ground first. So what I would do is I would just go in here, small little steps in here if we're walking in place, and you can just do small little steps where you put your heel first. It's a progressive training, but again, you just want to walk, and the way to do that is to just lift your knees slightly and think of the heel touching the ground, and my weight transition goes from heel onto my toe, and it's naturally happening because my heel is here, my momentum is naturally going forward, so I don't have to think of going onto my toe. My feet are just staying underneath my body as it moves. If I move in my body and don't move my feet, this happens. And so again, I'm just moving my feet, and it's heel, which gives a little resistance to I'm not going to fall forward. But again, just nice and easy. So I would even just do walking round the board, and notice if you walk round the board, how the heel always touches the ground first. I hope that helps. Angie, great to see you here. Thanks so much for showing up. And again, feel free to ask any questions and come back on Thursday. Great smile. Guy Newman, thanks so much. Guy, what's an entrepreneur? I have no idea. But Guy, I used to coach with or against actually, but great to see you here, Guy. Hope everything's going well for you, mate. Bob, glad that really helps. So again, Bob, the great thing with all of us, we've all been here before, right? We didn't have balance issues, or we could get out and run and never think about our body position. It was natural. So all we're doing is we're retraining. So as you get it and you repeat it, it will come back. As we talked about, muscle has memory and neurons have memory. Both want to be active and both want to be activated and strengthened. That's part of growth, and not stepping back and letting your life become, I don't want to say weaker, because I never want to focus on the negative, but we allow something to control the power that we have instead of I'm taking me back. Pat, that's great. You had rocks this morning. They are temporary, somewhat better. Do it slowly, Pat. Go through this slowly. And I'd say do this 3 to 4 times a day. Like I say, if you're walking past the board, just do some of those exercises, or take the red ball with you and put it on the floor when you're sitting. You know, if you're watching TV, and just roll those feet. The more, I'm a huge believer, having been a dancer, that the better your flexibility, the better your suppleness, the stronger you can grow. So that's great. Carol, the foot thing is very helpful. You didn't realize how bad one foot was. That's awesome. See, knowledge is power, and the knowledge is you didn't realize. It's not me. The knowledge is you didn't realize that one foot was worse than the other. Now you do. Now you can address it. The one thing that I'll say both to Pat and in here and to Carol and anybody else, don't overdo it. Don't go, oh, this is helping, I'm going to go crazy, I'm going to do an hour a day, because what you'll do is you'll tire the area out. I would say set yourself a 2-week schedule of doing it every day for 2 weeks, and maybe increasing by 20, 30 seconds a day. That's it, to see what the effect is. Because if you overdo it, you can get more scar tissue, you can get build up, or you can get pain going in there. Build it slow. So that's great, Pat. Keep working on it. Yeah, Amy, that's it. Don't take your stretches too extreme. It makes sense. Thank you. Again, I always say if it doesn't make sense, it probably isn't right, because simple is always the best. And at the same time, if you have a connectivity, you don't want to stress the area. You want to strengthen the muscle. And the muscle, as it gets stronger, will slowly have that strength going further down. And again, avoidance of injury risk while you're strengthening is way better. So here we go, Carol. You've got one hip that's weaker than the other. Any ideas? Great exercise. And again, Bob, you can come in and talk about this because you've had both hips replaced. So again, some of the questions that I would have for you in here is, you know, where is the weakness? Is it on a standing? Is it a structure? I need to know a little bit more about the specific hip weakness. But one thing that let me take you through, I'm going to give you 3 exercises. I'm going to pretend that it's your left hip that's weaker, so we're going to work on one side. What I want you to do is put your left foot on number 1, right foot on number 3. Now bend that knee, and I want you to straighten the knee and squeeze your butt muscle. Straighten the knee, and everybody do this one with me, because I want you to feel it, because this will also help. It's preventative, and Bob, this will be great for you as well. So don't stand up and move the board. Push down and straighten that leg and squeeze your butt muscle. This whole area has to be strengthened in here, because the muscles are what support the joint. I did a bunch of studying over the last 2 days on the knee joint, because I want to see if there's any new technology, new understanding of simplicity of the knee, and found out the knee is the biggest joint in our body. I would have thought it was the hip, but it's actually the knee. There you go, because of all the different, the 4 different bones that connect in there, and the ligaments and the movement as well. They are good. So as we're pushing here, again, push down on the foot, till the board, and then stand upright and squeeze your butt muscle and squeeze your thigh muscle. So that's the first one we're going to do, so you can feel how that goes. Now, the second one that we're going to do, and we're going to switch sides, because again, we'd normally do both sides. I now want you, we're going to work on the left hip again. Push to the center, so we're on 1 and 3. Push to the center and lift the leg to the side. So we're here, lifting the leg to the side. And it's just a small movement. And you'll notice how your glute muscle in here is really working to help lift. But you've got your adductor muscles as well through here that are squeezing and tightening. What I want you to do is just squeeze and tighten as we go into this area. And now incorporate your core as well. So as you go, notice how when I'm here, I twist my hips slightly up, I contract my muscles here, I tighten my abs, my glutes are tightening, and just by doing the movement and blowing out when you lift, you'll notice how that muscle will begin to tighten through here. So that's the second exercise. The last exercise that I want you to do, and it's a little bit like a squat, but it's an exaggeration. I want you to just have a small little bend, and then when you come forward, think of pushing your hips forward. If I did it from here, from the side, it's a small little bend, and then push as if you're leaning back slightly. What we're doing is we're stretching the hip flexor, at the same time we're squeezing the glute muscle. So we're just in here. and just pushing. And of course, you'll notice you have the hip rotation and then the squeeze. So we begin to work this whole area from the front contraction to the squeeze, to the stretch of the back, to the squeeze. So those are three. The last one that I'm going to give you just to throw in here as well is just do rocking and just join in with me. Put your left foot on 1, right foot on 3, and then come and find your balance. And notice how most of your weight, about 90% of your weight, if you're on 1 and 3, is on one hip. Now change to the other side. Right foot 1, left foot 3, and rocking across into here. And now come and find your balance. And notice, I've got to find my balance first. About 90% of the weight is here. And notice how your whole hip area is engaged. So I would recommend those exercises to help with your hip. I hope that helps a lot, Carol. And again, work on the side that's a little weaker, but again, take it slow. You might want to say, okay, my left hip's good, my right hip's bad. I'll do 10 reps on my left side and 15 reps on my right side, because we want to make sure we're still working both sides. Don't take one lopsided and become lopsided the other way. Let's build the weaker to catch up with the stronger, but keep improving the stronger. So Ildi, you try not to use the poles. Is that a good idea for balance, or in some exercises is the arm movement beneficial? Look, it's great. When I train athletes, I take the poles out for the most part. And the reason being is that if they began to fall because they're really active, when I say fall, they get off balance, they will be able to step off that board quickly. So their reaction time is still at the height of their strength. I will say a couple of times that there are advantages to holding onto the poles when it's something very specific, because we want to look at technique. I'll give you an example. For example, if I'm going to go 1 foot and I'm going to do toe raises into here, this will help keep my body in alignment and help with the support. If I try and do single leg raises out here and my body begins to go off alignment, it can be really hard to do, and it can put extra pressure on my toes. Instead of, if I hold the poles, it allows my body to stay in alignment so I can isolate just the calf muscle and the toes instead of my body pulling me all off. So I think it's great to do exercises. And for people that want to test it, take one hand off as you're doing it. Take both hands off and move slow. Be ready to grab them if you want. Take one hand in the air and take one hand across here so I can grab the pole if I need to. Because a lot of times you're way better than you know. You just need the confidence to have this and to grow. That's why when people use the metal poles, because they need that extra confidence and that extra strength to help them, I say, if you're going to now change the yellows, change one pole, change one to yellow, one to metal, so that you have that confidence, because the confidence grows and your body begins to discover it's way better than you thought. So sometimes you'll see when we're doing walking in here, you'll see I'll say, okay, take one arm off or hold one arm here as you're going, or we're working through into this area, walking backwards and forwards as we're pushing. So there can be single exercises, in here as well, so that we can work, because it's multitasking the brain. But the poles, use them to help target specific muscles, so you're not trying to control the whole body and missing, in that example, the ability to work the calf. Hope that helps. Gilbert, Mr. Junior, great to see you here, Gilbert. Thank you so much. Bob, did you say you played soccer? No, I played football, mate. I played real football where you actually use your feet and we run around and kick the ball, not where we wear spandex and throw the ball to each other. But I played soccer, I played football, yeah. And Bob says, Amen, stay with it. The board solves so many of your problems. Totally agree with that, Bob. I mean, I saw it. There's one thing living it and there's another thing witnessing it. And between the two of us, we saw and witnessed and incredible. Remy, you're most welcome. Thank you. Mary, after your stroke, you noticed you have problems going downstairs and I have a lot of movement side to side when I walk. When my board comes in, what should I start to work on first? So Mary, for the first thing, follow the program. Go through where I teach how to safely get on and off the board. One of the greatest exercises you're going to do is standing on the floor and just tapping on the 1 and 1. This is going to be one of the greatest exercises you'll do, and then you'll see we'll go 1, 2, 3, and you can also make up your own exercise where you can go 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2. And this was the very first exercise I ever did with Bob on the 60 up, because what we noticed was the leg that's moving is not the one that's working. The leg that's staying on the ground is the one that's working. So think about it, if you have a lot of side-to-side movement, it's because you're wobbling on the leg that's on the ground. This is again with Bob. When he first came in, Bob would tell you he was shuffling like this. But when I put his hands against the wall, he could lift his knees all day long. And so it was really important for me to understand, this is what changed my whole training. My whole life of training changed. And this is how I created the board. The problem was not his body, he was strong. The problem was the feeling of the strength of the body and the pressure points. So I really think this exercise for you to begin with, and I saw such quick, huge improvement with Bob, because he suddenly had the confidence to lift one leg up. And as he's moving this leg, not just standing and holding that people will tell you to do, standing and holding, you just find your middle. The fact that leg is moving constantly changes your pressure points to help the brain and feet. So I think that's going to be a fantastic exercise for you to do. And then as you get better, reach back out to me again. I had the same thing with my mother, who said she had a hard time stepping off of a sidewalk, stepping off the curb. And we actually did classes where we taught how to step down again. And I'm telling you, I've seen so many stroke survivors have incredible results. So again, wishing you the best. We're here to support you, and I'm really excited about your progression. We've got a great group. So Carol, the pain is on the outside of the left. Okay, so with that, I would make sure you stretch. One way to stretch, let me just grab the chair. We want to stretch the outside of the left hip. So what I want you to do is lift your foot up and just put your knee, left leg over your right knee, and then just pull that right leg across so you can feel the stretch. Bob, this is a great one for you. Had asked as well how to cross the leg when you're sitting, having a problem. So if you noticed, I'm stretching, then I bring my right leg back, then I'll push my right leg across and just hold it here, and you'll feel that stretch down the outside. Often pain comes from tightness, so if you can supple that up as well, it will help you strengthen. The other thing you can do is put your knee on your your left ankle on your right knee, and just sit there, put both elbows or forearms on your knee and just sit and relax, and you'll feel how that will come to stretch as well. Two very simple stretches for the hip. And you're most welcome, Carol. Gail, great to see you here. Thanks for stopping in. I am so sorry that Bob is in here saying there's no R in sore. There is an R in sore. Because when I'm soaring, I have no rest. I just got to get the work done, and there's an R in rest, which is associated with the soar. So thanks, Bob. Gail, thanks for stopping by again. Such a different type of workout today. And I'm going to finish with a couple of exercises. I see all the questions here have been answered, and great questions. Thanks so much for being part of this. Let's finish up with a quick little exercise through here so that you feel like you've done some work. Come and stand behind the board. What I want you to do, we're going to go through a 3-minute quick workout. This is a cardio kick. What I want you to do is just start tapping behind the board. Here we go, just tapping behind the board. There you go. On 1 and 1. Now go 2 and 2. So I'm just moving my feet side to side. And again, go at your own pace. But if you can keep up, I want you to go at this speed because we're going for a little cardio. Now go 3 and 3. So we're taking those legs a little wider. And notice, I like to hold the top of the poles here because I can always grab if I need to, if I feel unsafe. But at the same time, it also forces, if I'm here, I can lean forward. If I put my hands on the top, you'll notice it tends to push your shoulders back in here. Great for posture. Now, you'll notice as well, the board, as I tap it, is not really moving. But you should feel it now beginning into your hip. Okay, let's come to right foot. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, down. Are you ready? Here we go, right foot. 1, 2, and lift the foot in between. Left. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, down. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, down. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. And as we said in here, It's the foot that's on the ground, the leg that's staying on the ground, that is really doing all the work as far as training for balance. The other movement is purely for, again, the muscles are working, we're getting our foot placement last time through, and left. Okay, what I want you to do is step up on number 2 with your right foot, lift the leg, straighten the leg, bend the leg, step back. Are you ready? We're going to do this on the right leg. So step, lift the knee, straighten the leg, bring the heel back, back. Let's go to the other side. Step, lift, straighten, back, step down, and step, up, forward, back, down, down. Step, lift, straight, back, down, down. Step, knee high. I feel like a dance teacher. Step, heel, push, down and back. Step, lift, straighten, bend, back, down. Feels like a chorus line in here. Out, back. Do they get a job with the Rockettes? Step, lift, forward, back. And last time, step, lift, forward, back, and down. Good. Now what I want you to do is step up on 1 and 1 and just lift your knees nice and high. Good, so the knees are coming, take them as high as you can. Now as you're doing this, I don't want you to feel like you're leaning forward. Stand up nice and tall. There you go, good, you're doing great. Good, lifting those knees up. Let's go 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now what I want you to do is just rock. Now to do this, all I'm doing is I'm just doing this motion. My feet never leave the ground. Great for you pattern here, just to do this little exercise of just bending. By bending, all I do is push the toe forward. Sorry, push the knee forward, and you'll notice how the heel comes off. We're going to loosen that area between the ball of the foot and the toes to start getting some flexibility in there. There you go, good. We're just pushing through. I can feel my body temperature really rising now because we've got this cardio workout going. Good stuff. Now, come and stand on 1 and 1. Check your foot bearings. Now, find the middle. And all I want you to do is just tap your heels. You know, it's just a small little move. My heels barely come off of the board, but I'm just tapping slightly on there. Again, this will awaken, get the blood flow, it'll awaken the feeling. If you have neuropathy and it starts to hurt, do it softer, do it slower. But there you go, just nice and easy. And come to a rest. Grab a quick drink of water. Quick drink, and we're going to finish this up. Sue, thanks for saying, I think this is the first time you said hi to us, Sue. Thanks for, okay, you can't keep up the pace. The pace is irrelevant. Right? And when I say irrelevant, obviously the faster you go, Sue, the more cardio you get and the blood gets to work, your heart's working a little more. But don't worry about keeping up. Just go at your own pace. You'll be amazed. Eventually you will keep up and not even realize how fast you're going because it's a gradual progression. That's a great question. Now, slower. Let me explain this to you really quick. Slower is often better. See, I can have someone go tap and do this, and they're going fast, but they're getting their foot to the ground because they're falling. They're actually off balance. If I did this, I'd actually fall, but by going fast, I can put my foot on the ground again, which is a little bit like the shuffling motion. But if you go slower, and I'm here, at any point, I could say stop, and I should be balanced as I continue on. So often, slower is better until you can balance. Now I can do this fast because I know at any point I could stop. I almost lost my balance. I could stop and find my balance. So I'm here at any point. If I stop, can I find my balance? That's just the test. So again, make sure that it's not about how fast you do it. It's about how good you do it and then add speed. It's a great question. Gail, you found a new pain in your ankle, didn't know it was there, I'll work on it. Okay, so really quickly, stretch those ankles. roll them out. Find the sticking point where there's a little bit of pain and don't push that. Bring it back in again and just find that mobility and slowly increase the flexibility. And I've had enough ankle pains because of soccer. Is that okay, Bob? Because of soccer, because of football. Most ankle pain, I've had so many different ankle injuries and pains that are in there. Most of it, from my experience, is because of some scar tissue buildup, some tightness, there could be some scar tissue around one of the ligaments that's in there, and it's catching or going over. There's definitely a need to loosen that joint up. Okay, hope that helps. Last exercise, let's step up. Now, bring your knee across and touch. I'm gonna go slower in here just for Sue to begin with. Just in here, bring that foot across and touch your knee. There you go, just that little touch on the knee and touch. I think we've got a really long class today. There you go, just pushing across. I can see Bob said, thanks Don. Thanks Dan, great help. You see me Thursday. You'll see me here Thursday, but I'm gonna see you in a meeting, I think at 1:45 today. So I look forward to seeing you there. Good, now Sue, let's go slower. Touch the knee and hold. Now step, touch the knee and hold. And this is a great strengthener of the leg muscles. We're in a slightly off flat balance surface, and you're having to work the hip flexor to hold, because to hold that leg up has to be a muscle contraction, and contracting a muscle will increase the strength. Now, for those of you that want to go a little faster, and Sue, you'll find as you do this, you'll begin to get confident and notice that at any point I can stop and I can balance, and then I can go really quick. And that is everyday life training, because we never know. We could slip on a little bit of ice and have to move our feet quicker. We've got to be able to react to changes of pace, but still have our comfort level. Good, come and find your balance on 2 and 2. You know, it's funny, I've been doing so many new things, we haven't gone back to the basics. I'm going to incorporate some of the basics on Thursday's strength workout. Now, push your butt back, go into a small squat. Now stand back up, try not to let the board touch the side. Here we go again. Butt goes out, small little knee bend, come back up, and butt goes out, small little knee bend. Now hold it there, and come and stand back up. We've got 2 to go. Butt goes out, small little knee bend, feel that strength that you're holding. Again, don't feel it in the knees. Push the butt back further. If you're feeling it in the knees, push that butt back and you'll feel it more in the quads. Come and stand up. Last one. Butt goes out. Go into that slight knee bend. Don't let the board touch the side. You'll feel that little bit of motion. The motion's great because it's the proprioceptive connection that's creating the reaction to bring yourself back to the center. So if you're wobbling, don't worry. It's not about being centered. It's as I begin to lose my center, how quickly can I bring it back? Hold it, hold it, hold it. 10 seconds, 9, this is a builder, 8, 7, 6, feel those muscles working, 4, 3, 2, 1, come and stand back up. Now what you do is just lift those heels up now. So it's like, I'm just turning so you can see, I'm just loosening up those thigh muscles, allowing that lactic acid buildup to be removed by stretching so the blood can flow simply through the muscle and get rid of any issues that that tightness from doing the work will have. Good, and come and step back off of the board. All we're gonna do, just bend forward slightly, feel that little stretch, and put the time into stretching on your own during the day. It's invaluable. Good. Bring the heel up, put the heel on the board, bend forward again. You'll feel that stretch down the back of the calf and the leg. Bring it down, change, go into here. Awesome. And come back. What I want you to do is just take your hands, shake your hands out. We didn't do a hard workout today. It was more of a cardio and a learning. Just roll those shoulders. But again, really important that through the day, give yourself a certain time. Maybe each commercial break, if you're getting the chance to watch your favorite TV show and you're not on the board, good, shake those arms. Maybe each commercial break you're gonna stretch. And today I'm going to stretch my hips. It could be, look, I'm sitting, watching TV, and here comes a commercial break. I'm just going to bring my knee up and have a little bit of a stretch. And I'm just going to change while that's up, because every little bit of stretching, when I was a dancer, I spent as much time stretching as I did actually dancing, almost. But I had to, because I had to have that flexibility of movement. People think flexibility is just so that you can get your legs, do the splits, all the different stuff. It's actually to help grow strength, but also freedom of movement. The more supple you are, the better your freedom of movement too. Good, so if you're sitting down, that's good. You can just bend forward. This is a great stretch. Move the board forward. Just lean forward and just let yourself hang nice and easy in here. That will help stretch out your back. Again, it will loosen up the back muscles in here, and it can be really relaxing just here. And you'll notice how the hips as well will again be stretched out. If you're standing up, all you have to do is just go to here, take one hand, keep the other one here to help you come back up, but let one hand drop and then let the other hand drop. And the last one we're going to do today is just roll those ankles out. And change. And change, just roll them out. And last one, I think we've had a really long class today. I don't even know what time it is, but I know. So thank you for staying with me that long. Have a great rest of the day. And again, it hasn't been a regular class, but the first Tuesday of every month, I'm going to do these classes. If people want to go and get a workout, you can go to YouTube and pick up a workout and do that one instead. But I love education because I'm giving knowledge, and that gives you the power. As I always say, and Betsy, you'll know this one, the greatest masters or the greatest teachers are not the ones with the most students. It's the one that creates the most teachers. Or the greatest master is not the one with the most students, it's the one that creates the most masters. What I would like to be able to say as the years go on is I helped others figure out their own life, that they became stronger because of their knowledge. You know, when I talk to my soccer players, parents will say, Dan, you got to give the players confidence. And you got to make them feel good and give them confidence. And I said, no, what I got to do is help them build their own confidence, because one day they'll be in a position where someone's not going to believe in them, and they still have to have that power to turn around and say, I may have had a bad day, but I'm still good. Because if I can give confidence, it means I can take confidence. But if I instill confidence, they can tap into that. And it's the same with everybody that's going through health issues or wanting to get better. If you have to rely on your doctor, if you have to rely on your coach, you have to rely on your trainer, and you wait for them, your life is always at their speed. Whereas if you can gain knowledge, you can take your own control and power and add to what they give you. The knowledge and the expertise and the training and the guidance they give you, it's adding to what you already know. So I hope that I can help you understand more the power that you have and how to tap into it. Just going back, Bob, see you later on. Bev, thanks for being here. I don't know if you've seen the whole class, but thanks so much for stopping by. And again, all our workouts can be on YouTube, normally within 48 hours uploaded. Carol, thanks so much. Like I say, I love teaching these classes. It puts me on the spot because you ask me questions. I got to come up. There's no fake. There's no. The 60 up balance board is not, oh, let's create a workout and make people believe. You throw things at me, I got to come up and you'll see how versatile the 60 up is. And I love that challenge, because when you enjoy helping people, it's not doing the same thing over and over again unless you need to. It's how can we advance and help others that maybe didn't believe they could be helped or needed more specific help. So great, thanks. Betsy, always great to see you here, Professor. Thanks so much. It's always great to see you here. And Remy as well. Great to have you here, and thanks for the questions. It's great to have the questions, and Ildi too. Ildi, thanks so much. You learned a lot. I love how you focus on form. Yeah, I remember as a kid back in England, we just did things. But it was weird because I remember I ran a certain way, and I saw myself. My dad would come out and sometimes VHS stuff. And VHS, man, that's years ago. And I saw the way I ran. I didn't like the way that I ran. And so I went and actually changed the way I ran because I was able to watch. Another great example, I was doing an audition out in London with a guy called George May, who's one of the top choreographers. And we had to do a triple pirouette. That's 3 quick spins and hit the ground. and I couldn't get round in time. And I went and bought the VHS video in those days and watched myself and saw how hunched over. I was trying to go so fast that I hunched over to make myself smaller instead of lifting up so I could spin quicker. And so I learned so much, but I had to self-correct. It was, again, form is everything. I recognized it as a kid because I wasn't a naturally great athlete. I had to learn and discover. Maybe that's why I've been able to, again, develop training programs and coaching and probably a better coach than I was a player because I had to learn so much as a player. Yeah, you could have avoided, absolutely. You know, looking at your form, looking at your posture, looking at the structure of movement will help avoid injuries because your body is made in a skeletal structure. And sometimes by the way we move naturally, it's because of a weak tendon, a weak joint, a weak muscle. And instead of correcting that, we actually weaken it. So great point there. I don't have any humor. What do you mean? You appreciate my humor. I am always serious. Do not ever think I'm being funny. You and Bob could start a new genre of stand-up comedy, buddy comedy. That would be great. That'd be funny. So anyway, great to have you all here. It's been a long, long class. Thanks for the long message as well, Ildi. And don't forget, Kathy's class, fantastic teacher tomorrow, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I love Kathy's information, her knowledge. She's got years and years and years of expertise that she's so eagerly passes on to help because she truly cares. So please, Kathy's class tomorrow if you're around. I will be back on Thursday, a slightly higher intensity class, looking at more strength, and then we're going to be going through less explanations and more power movements. And when I say power, I'm not talking about bodybuilder. I'm talking about strengthening your muscles for everyday life. And then we're going to go, and then Friday, you have Debbie, who, you know, so many of you have been to both Kathy and Debbie's class. They're all unique. They're all so special. They're incredible. And Kathy's is at 9:30 on Friday mornings. It's 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, 10:30 Central Time. And again, try different classes. Jump in. You'll love the difference. You'll love the variety. It goes to show how much you can do on the 60-up board and how it can serve you because the board is developed to make you better, not you fit the board, but the board will help you regain everything that you want in life as we go through the process. Anyway, have a beautiful Tuesday. It's a fantastic day. Happy 1st of December. And thanks so much for being here. And I will see you hopefully Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.